strike with the W. She's on strike right now. They on strike right now. We're all here, we're all playing, we're all getting paid very sufficiently. So I'm not that upset if the league wants to play around. If we don't have a season, I have money. I'm getting paid from Unrivaled, and I have other revenues of income as well. It's really their loss.
That comment shows what is wrong with the current CBA negotiations. Azure Stevens said that if the WNBA season does not happen, she will be fine because she is earning enough money from Unrivaled. She even said, it's really their loss. But she may not be thinking about the bigger picture. Not every player has another source of income like that. Also, team owners who have spent millions of dollars on facilities and improvements might feel disrespected hearing a player suggest that the league does not matter.
Fine, we got Unrivaled. But Stevens, not everybody is playing in Unrivaled. Unrivaled is not year-round either. Now, I'm guessing she's saying, hey, we're going to be fine for an entire year. We can survive off of this paycheck that we're getting from Unrivaled, right? But the thing is, you have players that don't necessarily get this check. They need the check that the league is giving in that time frame.
The viewership numbers for Unrivaled have clearly dropped. On February 20th, 2026, a Friday night game on TNT featuring Angel Reese's return brought in about 130,000 viewers. In its second season, the league has been getting between 130,000 and 175,000 viewers per game. That is a big drop compared to its first season, when it averaged around 300,000 viewers. The audience has fallen by more than half in just 1 year. So when Stevens talks about Unrivaled as her backup plan, she is relying on a league that is losing viewers quickly. The league even brought Angel Reese back to help boost ratings, creating a complicated trade from their developmental pool, but it did not make much difference. Candace Parker questioned the move on air, noting that teams traded players without getting anyone in return. It seemed like a strategy to increase ratings, but it did not work.
I don't know, it was like the Rose traded off some people but didn't get anybody back. So it was kind of a weird thing, right? I remember Candace Parker was even bringing it up. She was like, well, they traded players but didn't get anybody back. That was weird. This states the Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball game between Hive and Rose on February 20th, 2026 on TNT drew 130,000 viewers. Okay, now this is the Friday game where Angel Reese came back. She had a pretty good game. 6 of 9. She shot 66% from the field. Can't be mad at it, right? Now continuing, says the matchup was part of the league's second season, which has faced lower viewership compared to its inaugural.
Now think about what this means for the CBA negotiations. The players want a $9.5 million salary cap, while the owners are offering $5.4 million. That is a huge difference. If the $5.4 million cap is approved, it would likely break up super teams like the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces have 4 Olympians on their roster. Under the owner's proposal, Jackie Young would earn $768,400, Kelsey Plum would make $887,000, Aya Wilson would get $940,000, and Brianna Stewart would earn $1.13 million. Together, those 4 salaries would total about $3.6 million, which is around 65% of the entire salary cap. That would leave only about $1.8 million for the other 8 players, meaning each of them would make roughly $245,775.
But I specifically remember having a conversation with some of them saying, hey, look, y'all are keyboard warriors here. Why aren't y'all butts in the seats? Get your butts in the seats. Forget all this keyboard, internet talk. Y'all are big on the internet. But why isn't she breaking records with the viewership? Why isn't she breaking records with y'all showing up in that arena? What is going on? Support her. I stated in one of my videos before, I don't know the future of this league. I don't know if it's going to be successful.
Stevens may not be thinking about the 8 players who would only make about $245,000. She may not be thinking about the rookies, the middle-level players, or those who do not have endorsement deals or other ways to earn money. She has said that she has several sources of income, including money from Unrivaled, endorsements, and other opportunities. So when she says, if we don't have a season, I have money, she is speaking from a place of financial security that most WNBA players do not have. That is the issue with using Unrivaled as leverage in these negotiations. Not every player is part of that league, and it only runs for about 3 months. It is not a year-round option. Many players depend on their WNBA salary during the summer, and some do not want to play overseas to earn extra income. Stevens may feel comfortable sitting out a WNBA season because she is financially secure, but that is not the reality for most players in the league.
That are watching the league right now, that are watching you guys. And I honestly don't know if Caitlin would even save the league because she don't even like 3-on-3. So would she join the play? Like, there's a lot lingering in the air for you guys to be beating on your chest. I'm just saying, be humble. And it's crazy, yesterday I started thinking about the salary cap, right? What they were asking for. They were asking for 9.4 or 9.5 million, and the owners were given 5.4 million on the salary cap. And the thing is, I think the reason they're trying to ask for so much there is because
the Players Union president, Nika Aki, said that everyone in the league is united. She explained that top players, rookies, and middle-level players all want a season to happen. However, she also said that if they do not get what they are asking for, they are ready to sit out as long as necessary. She described their position as fully committed and standing strong. But some people see a possible disconnect. When Azure Stevens publicly says that it would be the league's loss more than the players' loss, it can sound different from the union's message of unity. On the other hand, the owners have not made strong public threats. They have not said they would shut down the league or move their money elsewhere if players strike. Instead, they have stayed at the negotiating table, made proposals, and are trying to manage the financial challenges of running teams that many believe still lose money.
Salary would come out to about $768,400. Right, 768,400. Sorry. In total, these 4 players would account for 3.6 million, basically, or roughly 65% of the cap. This would mean the remaining 8 players would earn $245,075 each. Not much more than the league's proposed minimum salary and roughly $225,000 less than the average. Now, that's still good money. That's still a dub in my book, right? You go from 200...
This is where the unrivaled situation becomes more complicated. Some people believe that whenever WNBA players publicly praise Unrivaled as a backup option, it hurts the tone of the CBA negotiations. For example, when Natasha Cloud spoke highly about Unrivaled's success, critics later pointed out that the players ended up losing certain housing benefits in the agreement. To some observers, it seems like openly celebrating an alternative league can make it look as if players are less committed to working with WNBA owners. From the owner's perspective, they may see players saying, "We don't really need you," while at the same time asking for a $9.5 million salary cap and a larger share of revenue. That creates tension. It is difficult to argue that you do not depend on the league while also asking it to nearly double the salary cap and change how revenue is shared. This contrast is part of what makes the negotiation so sensitive and complex.
But I would say just be more professional when you're talking to the media about the owners, about what's going on in the W. You know, I think they are trying to work out something to work with you guys. They're not out bad-mouthing you guys. So just keep it respectful. I'm not saying the owners are 100% right here. I'm just saying maybe have the decency to speak about them as some people that are trying to actually help you guys make a living off the things that you love to do, which is play ball, giving you guys a platform to showcase your skills, right? Investing in you, making these facilities, all that stuff, man. You know, I just think they could go about it a different way, rather than act like they don't really need the league or need the owners. That's all I'm saying, man. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about all of this information, man. Do you agree with Stevens? Do you agree with me? Do you have your own thoughts about this? Let me know in the comments.
Here's the financial reality many people are pointing to. In an article by Annie Costabile, she explained that under a $5.4 million salary cap, a team like the Las Vegas Aces would spend about 65% of that cap on 4-star players. The remaining 8 roster spots would share about $1.9 million. That would average roughly $245,000 per player, which is much higher than the current league minimum of around $75,000. So even role players would see their salaries more than triple under the owner's proposal. The Players Union has rejected that offer because star players want supermax contracts. With a $5.4 million cap, teams could not afford multiple supermax deals and still build stacked rosters. That is why the union is pushing for a $9.5 million cap. A higher cap would make it easier to keep several star players on one team. But some people question whether that is good for competitive balance or the long-term health of the league. In the NBA, there is a luxury tax system to prevent teams from collecting all the top talent without financial penalties. Critics argue that WNBA players want the freedom to build super teams without similar limits, while also asking for a shift from a net revenue model to a gross revenue sharing system. When Azure Stevens says she would be fine without a WNBA season because Unrivaled pays her well, some see that as misunderstanding the idea of partnership. The WNBA depends on both players and owners working together. Owners have invested heavily in facilities, charter flights, arena upgrades, and major media agreements. The league has signed large broadcast deals with ESPN, CBS, and Amazon Prime, and a new media rights deal reportedly worth about $200 million per year starting in 2026. The league is also expanding to cities like Golden State, Toronto, and Portland. There is clear growth, but that growth depends on stability and cooperation. Unrivaled, meanwhile, offers strong short-term pay, reportedly between $100,000 and $250,000 for a 3-month season, and it has a deal with TNT. However, its viewership has dropped from about 300,000 in its first season to between 130,000 and 175,000 in its second season. That kind of decline raises questions about long-term stability. TNT's renewal is not guaranteed, and the broader media market is facing financial pressure. That makes Unrivaled less certain as a permanent backup option. Another key issue is that only about 30 to 40 players make Unrivaled rosters, while there are 144 WNBA roster spots. Many players do not have endorsements, overseas contracts, or alternative income streams. For them, losing a WNBA season would have serious financial consequences. Critics argue that when Stevens says it's really their loss, she may be speaking from personal